yesterday, and forgive me, I wasn't live on the hold on real quick. Nick, you had your first float tank experience yesterday. That's just to catch up for the YouTube people. What's going on, Nick? It looks like you want to get something off your chest.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with the float tank. It has to do with this Netflix show.
Which one?
Called Deep Fake Love, which is Spanish. It's real
Spanish, like Spain?
Yes, actual Spain TV show, which is a reality TV show. And the premise is this. The premise is there's couples that come into the show and they want to test whether or not their love is real or fake. And many of their relationships have been in existence for 5+ years. Some of them like 8 months or something. You're like, okay, well, who cares? But a lot of the people on there have like 5-year relationships. They come into the show and they're going to split them up and put them in separate houses with attractive single couples. Now, everyone's attractive in this show, basically, both the couples as well as these attractive singles. And the commentary on this show is absolutely ludicrous, basically. 90% of people end up cheating in one way or another. They're like making out with somebody else or kissing somebody else. And they're like, oh my God, I feel guilty for this. Like, it's a real struggle for them. And they're like, and the further that they progress things like physically with another person, they're like, well, I got to, test whether or not my love is real or fake. And I'm like, how is that a test? Like, if you end up sleeping with someone else, are you going to come to the conclusion after you've cheated on the person whether or not your love is real or fake? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
think about this. Not only is the show just terrible, but it's awesome to watch like a train wreck. Trust me, my wife likes shows like this. But just think about how cancerous this stuff is to just the fabric of society. You know what I mean? It's just creating a generation of morally bankrupt, just terrible people.
Dude, the thing, well, A, you're correct about that. B, so one night, one of these guys, basically, there's an attractive single female, and all these people are essentially partnering up with somebody on the single side. And so this is the real test of their relationship. And they're like, well, I got to really push it with this other person to really test whether or not my relationship is real. So
I mean,
one night,
I think it's smart. I think it's smart to operate that way.
This is so dumb. So then one of the guys, and everyone ends up cheating in one way or another from what I can tell. But basically this one guy goes with this one girl and he's like, yeah, I want to show you my bedroom. And they go to the bedroom and they sit down on the bed and they start making out. And then he leaves and he's sitting around with all the other the couple people in his house. And he's like, yeah, so last night I kissed her. But I really feel like I gained clarity through this process. And it really, and everyone's like, yeah, you really needed to test whether or not your love was real.
Like, they all bought in. They're all bought into this technique.
But imagine you're the one guy, Nick, or gal, that's like super faithful the whole show and does nothing. And then you get to the finale and you find out your partner was just getting passed around, having a good old time. You know what I mean? You're like, what the hell was I doing? I was the faithful one. You were Makeout Central.
Well, and I feel like it's not just like, one of the guys is like, the upset, one of the girls is kissing this other guy. And literally from the jump, she's like in a relationship with this other guy and she's not letting other girls be with him. And she's like, it doesn't make any sense.
So she was dating, got a single guy, now dating that single guy and saying like, hands off, this is my dude.
Exactly, basically. And then that guy kisses her and while they're in bed cuddling, but this is the true test of the relationship. And now there's another guy on the show that later says that it's like, well, your boyfriend's not going to know it's real. He's going to say that was fake. Because what they do is they show clips of that to the other couples and they have to say whether or not that clip was real or fake because some of it's deep fake situations.
Wait, like
so
AI?
Just deep fake. So they'll like take two people and have them hump in a bed and then swap whose face it is. and
We're
show
so-
that to the other person to
Oh my
literally terrorize them and then be like, was it real or was it fake? And the person needs
I'm sorry, but you know when you have a dream that your partner has cheated on you, or your girlfriend or your boyfriend has cheated on you? I don't know if guys do this, but certainly among my girlfriends, we've had discussions how you're pissed at them the next day because
Yeah.
they cheated on you in the dream. So
Yeah.
can you imagine like watching like deep fake AI? And dude, after that, anything that your partner does, even like slightly sketchy, will just you will definitely recall that traumatic deep fake incident, and then basically your next argument will be so blown out of proportion because you're comparing it to a fake moment when they cheated against a moment where they probably just said hi to a girl.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Or the absolute gaslighter, psychopaths are going to use the deep fakes to kind of like smoke and mirror their real, promiscuity and be like, no, that wasn't me. That was
Wait.
like a deep fake video.
Signal. Do you get mad when you have a dream about cheating?
No, but like I have definitely had dreams about my partner doing something wrong, which really pissed me off. And the next day, it has affected my mood 100%. Like I wake up in the morning, I'm just like a bit like, mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't want to be around me, and he just runs out the door.
And I ask him, I'm like, what's wrong? And it's like nothing. And it's like, no, like obviously there's something wrong. And you spend an hour getting them to dig it out of them, and then they tell you, yeah, in the dream, like you cheated on me or something like that. And you're like, how is that my fault? Like how I can't prevent that. How could I have prevented that? Explain to me how I could have prevented that.
I don't want to come out and say dreams that I've had, but but I just feel like, what if I was attracted to someone else in a dream? Am I cheating in that situation when I had?
Nothing. You don't say anything. You keep that. You go to the grave with that shit, dude.
So actually, one other short snory. You know who's not snoring is Node. But the other story I wanted to share associated with that was, so I worked with a photographer in high school, like a wedding photographer, and I'd go and photograph with them, but I'd also serve as like an assistant sort of thing when at these huge weddings. Anyways, one day he comes, picks me up. We're going to photograph a wedding. And he's just breaking down basically because his wife said some other man's name in a dream the night before, basically while she was sleeping. And he's like just devastated on this situation. He's like telling me about it. And I'm like a student in high school at this moment. So like, and he's my teacher basically, and who I also happen to work with. And he's telling me this thing. And I'm like, I don't know what to do, man. And basically, he's calling up his friends and he's telling them the story, and he's just distraught over this situation. I ended up photographing their remarriage basically after this thing happened. They had a full remarriage ceremony that happened after this because she had a dream where she mentioned another man's name. Now, it is a little weird saying another person's
out loud.
Yeah, that is a little.
Yeah, that's kind of fucking weird, though.
Well, it depends. If it's like a celebrity, I mean, it should be okay. I mean, that's what I would have said. I would have ASAP come up with like a celebrity's name. But if it's like an ex-boyfriend or like ex-boyfriend colleague, anything like that, then it's really sketch.
I mean, yeah.
NFT Nick, give me your NFTs. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah, so that's definitely not in my dreams. But regardless, that show, if you want complete trash, I mean, the show is just absolute garbage. I will say Netflix is filled with a lot of Spanish language, like both. Well, obviously there's Netflix Spanish edition, but there's a lot of shows on there that are just complete. They take the trash to another level, basically.
So just get you on record, you're saying you think Spanish shows are garbage, like low IQ garbage, like shows made by people.
Not all of them.
He was making a blanket statement.
Not all of them. Just they know how to make trash videos. Let me just say that, and the people are more attractive than the American trash shows. Okay, that's what I'll say.
Yeah, so they got a leg up.
They have a leg up.
You need that. Node, welcome back to the show. Node, are you mocking kicks by putting a bunch of gunk on your nose?
I just realized it's all crooked, but yes, it was a nose strip. It was the only Bury one I could find in the house. And I wanted to honor Kix, not mock him. You know, Kix, where do you get your nose strips? Throw it in the chat. I'm gonna order some.
Yeah, Amazon, man. They got great options. There's all sorts of different different tapers and different strength levels and like the glue that they use. I prefer the toxic glue. It holds longer. But actually the past 2 days, every morning I've had someone ask me if I broke my nose and had like nose surgery. And I'm like, nope, it's just a nasal strip. But they're definitely not fashionable. Like it's going to take a lot more people like you and me to really kind of, get into the zeitgeist of American fashion.
Look, I'll do anything to increase my performance. So if that's what it takes, like, let me know. Let me know if that's.
Dude, there's this like social media influencer like Alex Hormozel or something. He's like
Alex Hormozy.
Yeah, he's super big in the gym space. Dude's like my twin. My twin that did steroids. Dude loves to do nicotine gum. Just chews the shit out of it. And
worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
And worth hundreds of millions of dollars and wears nose strips all the time. And has a nice wife, lovely wife. She's awesome.
Node, would you and your significant other go on deep fake love and test? Do you really just test your relationship by making out with other people?
Garbage. Yeah, I'm right there with Kix, dude. It's destroying the moral fabric of our society. I've been married for 12 years, so no, absolutely not. If anyone goes on that show, that's
if it's real? Do you know if it's real? No, I feel like you don't know if it's real until you go on a show and you go and couple up with somebody else and sleep with them.
Yeah.
If you go on any kind of show like that, that's just an automatic red flag. I mean, I would never even consider dating anyone that was on any kind of Netflix couples show ever.
But you date other people that aren't on those shows.
Correct. If I was not married already, I'm just saying, if I was out there looking for a spouse, I would not go. I would not go to Netflix to
like if it's a sliding scale. They're not at OnlyFans level, but they're like they're sliding on that scale towards that direction.
They're probably on OnlyFans level already. Wow. You just don't know it.
They're probably on there and saying it. Like I'm just saying, like that. Basically, it's become so common that people are just like, yeah, I'm on OnlyFans. It's a great way to make a living. And frankly, for some people, it really is. Like, I mean, you're sort of like at a certain point in my mind, I'm like, which destroyed the moral fabric of society in that scenario? The person going nude and making $500,000 a year, or the people paying for it? This is where the question gets in. But this TV show, definitely not really effective. And part of it has to be scripted, because the concept that someone's sitting down and being like, yeah, I kissed someone last night, and and everyone universally is like, you know what they say, you got to test your relationship.
That was like take 7, dude. That was like take 7, and they had to give him a couple mimosas to really get him going.
You know what? You got to test your relationship, okay? That's all. Honey, all I was doing was testing to make sure whether or not our love was real or fake when I went and slept with that other woman, and it turns out I'm not into her. I'm not in love with that other person, okay? I was just sleeping with her to test whether or not my love for you was actually real.
Bunny, would you and your wife go on a show like that? Bunny.
Maybe he doesn't want to comment on this.
I think so, dude. I think I would.
Do you think
I love those shows, man.
Do you think your wife would also want to be on the show, or just you?
No, I think she'd be game. Just test it out. I don't think you have to make out with people, right, Nick? It's not like an obligation.
Nobody forces you, although based on how this show is going, I feel like that may be a prerequisite for participating on this show. It's like literally everyone ends up broken up at the end, and the punchline of the whole show is like, see, all relationships are destined for failure.
That's some real CIA shit, dude. They're trying to reduce the population through TV shows like this. My conspiracy theory.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, today's show is a very special edition show where we're going to discuss several topics like Moonbirds and Doodles building momentum. We have Notarino joining the show to discuss all things that are happening in the art world. But of course, this is actually a joint show with Farouk Mando and OSF from Rug Radio. They're going to be joining us in about 40 minutes for the second leg of this show. The show's going to be extra long. It's going to be a little 2-hour banger where we have the Rug Radio squad for the second half of the show. So very, very exciting show today. Really excited to dive in and get into the meat and potatoes of it. Want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's show, Phantom Wallet. Phantom is the official wallet partner of BoDoggos and the Nifty, the leading wallet on Solana, and is bringing its millions of users a superior user experience and NFT features to Ethereum and Polygon. So with Phantom, you can easily view your NFTs across all three of those networks. You don't need to constantly switch between wallets. If you have BoDoggos, you can have them all in one place. Phantom offers a browser extension and world-class applications for both iOS and Android, so you are able to access your wallet from anywhere. Plus, in Phantom Wallet, you can actually search for and pin your NFTs to keep your collection organized. That's in wallet, right? That's not on the marketplace, but actually in your wallet. And because of Phantom's incredible UI, you don't have to worry about, the hassle of managing multiple seed phrases. It has support for multiple seed phrases. So you can just import all your wallets in one place. The upgrade's super easy. No need to send NFTs or transfer assets. Just import your existing Ethereum wallet seed phrase into Phantom. So go to phantom.app to get your wallet kicked off with a much better solution through Phantom. So shout out to Phantom, the official wallet partner of the Nifty and BoDoggos. We got kicks on the weather report.
Real quick, I wanted to say, Clemente, I think you have a new idea for a segment here, which is called Real or Fake. And basically, you just take quotes from all of us, put them on the screen with just like tweets and be like,
Good idea.
Was that tweet real or fake? And it's going to be like me saying something offensive about a project. And then you're going to be like, was that real or fake?
I love that.
Love it. There we go. Kicks, we got you on weather. Please take us through it.
Awesome. Thanks for re-kicking to me, Coach. I wasn't sure when Nick was going to finish, so the music should be coming on any second right now. So oh shit. Today is Thursday, the 20th of July. Volume coming in 11.5 million. Blur 6.9. OpenSea up a little bit at 3 million a day. So we're still looking pretty light. But floor prices, they're holding up. Apes 33.2. We got Mutants at 6. We got Punks at 48.6. D-Gods holding strong 8.6. Those frat boys, they got that money. Azuki 5.6. Nice little rally off 5.3 when everyone thought they were dead. Captain 6.3 looking okay. Pudgy's 3.9. They are a 4 ETH stable coin. Over the past 24 hours, Meme Coin revealed the upcoming airdrop will be 17,250,000 tokens. That's 25% of the total meme supply. It'll be stored with MVP captains and potatoes. A redacted amount will be available for instant unlock. So we're looking at some sort of locked, dripped out supply. Looks like they know what they're doing with tokenomics. Over on Ordinals, we got BitGod, the creator of OXBT, was involuntarily doxxed as Chad. Well, I hope the price went straight to the moon because that's a legendary name. He revealed himself to be the former founder of crypto exchange Zoog, which was eventually shut down after the company couldn't find product market fit in 2020. Hey, he's trying, he's hustling, he's chopping his feet. Doesn't always work out.
What is this story?
Announced they will reduce the mint price to 0.065. That's only $125 for all upcoming phases. They want to make that trash accessible for everyone. Lastly, a luxury Italian sports car, Ferrari F40, has been sold on Alter Marketplace for $2.5 million, alongside a Polygon NFT as proof of ownership. Alter Marketplace wants to become a hub for buying and selling of luxury items authenticated on the Polygon blockchain with NFTs. You can also show that NFT to a cop if you get pulled over, and you won't get a ticket. Quickly looking at crypto, Bitcoin 30.2, ETH 1920, Solana 27, Ape 2.1. Crypto looking strong. Altcoins looking very strong. Back to you in the studio.
Fantastic weather report. I love that platform, you know, having proof of ownership of high-end luxury collectibles like Ferraris. Very cool stuff. You're going to see that with watches left and right is my theory moving forward. Some updates from the Nifty Daily Digest, which is the daily newsletter published at thenifty.com. You need to have an account there for the free NFTs that we give away almost daily, including today. So go to thenifty.com and make an account. Moonbirds announced that the Moonbirds Mythics reveal begins today at 1 p.m. Eastern time, with 50 mythic eggs receiving an activation that allows them to be manually hatched. 50 nominated oddities are going to be burned for a mythic, for a maximum of 100 mythics being revealed every day. That's a faster pace of reveal than I thought. I thought it was going to be more gradual than that. 100 a day sounds like a good amount, right? Or
It should be minted out, they think, or fully revealed in 200 days.
Oh, well, that's a long time. Never mind. That's a good amount of time. I thought that was what they were going for, like over a half-year reveal. That makes sense. Doodles revealed details for their highly anticipated Doodles Camp collaboration, 3,500 square foot physical activation in Chicago. That's big, featuring various experiences and a co-branded collection of apparel and accessories. OG Doodle holders are eligible for benefits, including an exclusive preview on August 17th and future elevated ticket experiences at the store. Yep.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Sotheby's Grails auction part 3 concluded, achieving nearly 1.2 million in sales and including a 133.7 Ethereum sale for a white CryptoPunk and 2 Fidenza sales at 147 and 127 ETH. So another $1 million NFT auction from a traditional auction house that features punks and Fidenzas. These just keep going down during this bear market. Pudgy Penguins shared details about their plushies to their 700,000 Instagram followers this week in their usual delivery of an animated short-form video, receiving over 120,000 views and 8,000 likes. Those are the stories from the Nifty Daily Digest. Sign up at thenifty.com so that you can claim the free NFT. That happens later on in this show. Nick, what did you want to chime in with, buddy?
Well, it looks like it was the second subject for today. Maybe we just switched the order. The one,
That's fine. Yeah.
This Doodles Camp thing, which was how many like Doodles owners have kids in Chicago?
4.
Is one what?
4.
Okay, well that's cool that you know the number. The other thing it's cool that they're doing that, and they seem to be really focused on like physical installation stuff because they did that event down when we at in Miami.
Art Basel.
Yeah, and so, with the putt experience, so they are really focused on that. I wonder how much revenue something like that generates. B, Camp is like a pretty cool store to be partnered with, but C, I wonder from like the NFT holder standpoint, where does this overlap? Like it feels disconnected. Am I completely off with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that it can definitely feel disconnected, but also to your point, like it's been part of their strategic playbook for a while. So you shouldn't really be surprised if they're continuing to lean in on this. It also looks like it's like $36 a ticket to get into the experience. I'm sure if you hold a doodle, you get in for free. So getting a little utility out of that. I honestly think Doodles should just completely abandon NFTs and just like franchise like cool physical experiences, like their putt, dude. Like they could probably make millions of dollars just having those putts around the world. But yeah, man, I think it's their playbook, right?
What kind of brand is Camp?
It's a higher end toy store. But calling it high end is probably a little ridiculous. It's not like I've shopped there. There's one in the building right down here. It feels like more polished than like KB Toys back in the day, where you had like He-Man and like different like action figures. Instead, a lot of the stuff there is more interactive, like
slime
and the sand equivalent of whatever slime is. There's more textural things that are there. They sell plushies and other sort of like, I've seen a lot of like electronic ones, but basically it's just a higher end toy store. The other thing that they're focused on at those camp stores is essentially they have like a daycare experience there. So you can pay for your kid to go play there for 3 hours or something like that and go on a date. And I think that's kind of what the focus is about. So to make it interactive is the main purpose of it, which is why I think the stuff that Doodles is doing makes sense. It's just like I don't want to I wouldn't criticize them as a business. It seems like, but as an NFT project, it's really difficult to see the overlap there in terms of like how that fits natively with their brand. And or you can just say that's where they're moving the IP is towards interactive experiences. They're not very like, they've never come out and said that though. Like that's never been like a phrase that they've mentioned. Instead, you only have like the interactions that they've released or revealed in order to like set that benchmark. So I'm curious how other people perceive them as a brand in the marketplace.
I find it a little bit conflicting, I have to say, but only because, well, I've never been into a camp, but from what you've just said, I really like the idea of having these in real life activations where kids go in and, you know, if they like it, they would interact and do whatever games that are there. I think it's a very cool strategic partnership. However, I just find it a bit conflicting in that I never really thought Doodles was a kids brand. I always thought it was aimed or it was at least born into an older audience. And then as well, when you sort of have, you know, the creative director of the menswear creative director, Pharrell Williams at Louis Vuitton, being part of that partnership, that's where I find it a bit like camp, but then you have Pharrell. It just doesn't really make sense in my head, but I think as if that's the direction they want to take, they want to just tap into that kids market, that partnership totally makes sense.
From my perspective, if they're successful in any of this stuff and actually bring in significant revenue, then it's a success, right? So I'm not against NFT businesses actually figuring out a way to have real business revenue long-term that doesn't have to do with minting more NFTs. I think that we're going to have to see. Well, look, the thing is if somebody cracks that code and actually does like a physical space that people actually want to go to and they're making a lot of money, then that's huge. Like here, Clemente has it pulled up right now, what the IRL space is going to look like. It looks cool. So if this is a success in Chicago, then we're all going to be saying, oh my God, Doodles crushed it. The thing that I like more about it is that it would actually set a precedent and give us as an industry, because we are so nascent as an industry, basically 2 years old at this point, the NFT side of the crypto industry, it would give us a little bit of a roadmap where this is something you can do. Because right now I feel like all roads sort of lead to either fine art, right? But like the vast majority of, that's not like the business side. That's for like fine artists and people that are looking to operate businesses in the fine arts space and just operate with digital art. So that's one side. But then the other roads kind of do lead to video games, it seems. People make the social club case, but there isn't like a social club that's been profitable that's actually happened yet, short of selling more NFTs, right? If there was like already a Soho House type franchise in place, which people are saying Bored Ape Yacht Club is going to start, and maybe they're successful with it, but their main focus, Bored Ape Yacht Club, Yuga Labs, is video games. And I think a lot of people, look, Kix is the CEO of a video game business in the NFT space himself. Roads are kind of pointing towards video games right now.
Pia, you would have loved how deep down this rabbit hole I went last night. Basically, I was thinking about video games and online and AI convergence and how it's all going to be like so hard to differentiate. Basically, what I thought is that the reason why GameStop is going to be worth so much is if you want to be a competitive video gamer, you're going to have to go to a GameStop where literally a referee is going to watch you calibrate yourself in a video game to make sure you're not cheating with AI at home.
Well, I mean, that's interesting. I think competitive video games is going to get bigger and bigger. I wonder how big of an industry that's actually going to be. I mean, honestly, I feel like it's going to be big. I also think that there's a side note, as a tangent. I think video gamers are going to be in elite shape as VR stuff starts to develop. Because if you've ever played a VR boxing game, it is so fun. It's so fun to just stand there in the living room and you know, throw punches and actually go through the motion of boxing, and you sweat. I mean, it's real exercise.
I mean, my favorite esports team of all time was jacked out of their minds. 2018, Boston Major, CSGO, Cloud9, absolutely dominated against FaZe Clan. And these guys were definitely on roids, man. They were hitting bench hard.
Was it roids, though, or was it just a bunch of Adderall that led to not eating as much? And like
Adderall and post-workout.
But I will say the opposite side of that is like those sitting down games. Like, man, I could play Angry Birds on VR for a decade, and you don't sweat a single bit. But it's just completely immersive. It's one of the best games.
Well, you're going to have the athletic VR gamers and the non-athletic VR gamers. Signal?
I was going to say, maybe this is how a lot of Twitter beef can now be sorted out. Instead of people actually having to get in a ring and get their faces punched, not many people actually want that. They can just do VR. And so all this Twitter beef is like VR boxing. And, you know, you train away, if you even train, and just beat the other person up. I think this is a perfect solution and a potential moneymaker for a Web3 business.
Well, we'll see. Anyway, to wrap things up on the Doodles Camp physical experience, we will see how successful it is. I have to think that they're hoping that it'll be a very successful in real life space. If it is successful, it would be a quite frankly, pretty big and important news for the NFT space, because it would just be like, somebody's got a business. Nick?
I have something completely unrelated.
Okay, we were done with that, so that's fine.
A story which involves Easy. Yesterday, he notified me when we were in a meeting of a money printing loophole that the BoDoggos Discord had found. And essentially what had happened was...
We're not talking about it, Nick. We're not talking about it.
I'm not going to name the company, but essentially there's a site, a gambling site, which essentially lets you bet whether or not price of an underlying token is going to go up or down. And it's like just real-time betting. And you can do leveraged bets on this to be like, I think it's going to go up. And you just place the entry, and then it goes up or down, and you exit your position, basically. It's trading. But what happened was the Oracle that was delivering the price for this site was delayed. And it was delayed by like 3+ seconds. So what people in the BoDoggos Discord were doing was going and getting the real price, placing the trade, having the price go up, and then exit essentially and making money. And it was free money. You're muted, Kix, but that's all good because you're going to speak over anyways. But I
was just saying, we'll talk about this other day. You know how like having the servers closer to the thing, like the closer to the data has the advantage.
That's even a big thing in gaming now too, which is wild. Like they switched up Fortnite servers where you now need to basically be in Texas to play competitively.
Well, that's ridiculous. But here's what happened. So we're in the meeting and Easy communicates this to me, and I'm not capable of passing up a free money printing machine. So I turn on the VPN. I go sign up for this gambling site, basically. I go and I deposit 1 Sol. I also need to upgrade my trading view. So I'm now $30 into the trading view upgrade so I can get the per second data, maybe even $50 plus the 1 Sol that I've put in. And Easy's like, yo, you got to like bet on something real quick in order to unlock your account so that you can withdraw. You got to make 1 bet. So I go and make 1 bet on what's the name of that?
Crash.
It's called Crash, which is where like a rocket goes up and it gives you a multiplier. It starts at 1 and it starts counting up, and you like exit and you get that multiple. So everyone, it's a gambling thing. Anyways, I go in, I do Crash, immediately lose my money. And I lost $15. So I'm now already like $65 into this thing. They shut down withdrawals because they've figured this out. And additionally, the site has now fixed the bug. So
Nick was late to the party. Nick was late to the party.
So I just lost $65 basically for testing this concept out, which is so ridiculous. But it was a pretty interesting loophole. And Easy's always telling me late in this story, basically, is the moral of this, where he's like, dude, I've made like $6,000 so far on this money printing glitch. And you're like, oh, cool, thanks for telling me about it. And by the time you go and execute on it, like, the opportunity is gone. So that's thanks for the alpha, Easy.
Anytime,
there you go.
Anytime, my friend.
He told me, and I had zero interest in it. I'm just like, I'm not gonna work out for me.
Really?
Yeah, because dude, like, what if I can't withdraw the money? What if they lock my account? Like, you know.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, just want to take another quick minute before we dive into the state of the art market with Notarino. Love having Node back on the show. We want to just take a minute to thank the sponsor of today's show, Phantom Wallet, the official wallet partner of BoDoggos and the Nifty. Security should be your number one priority when you're dealing with all crypto and NFT self-custody. And that's why Phantom offers cutting-edge security to keep your assets safe. We've seen some of the most notable people and leaders in Web3 get hacked. It's very unfortunate to see. And so Phantom has set out to create a much better solution and drastically improve the security issues that many users face with the competitors of Phantom. So Phantom's browser extension and mobile apps, get this, actually offer a transaction simulator before you complete the transaction. And that's designed to protect you and your assets from phishing attacks. Phantom also supports Ledger Mobile, ensuring your assets are kept secure even when you're using a hardware wallet. I know this feels like it should be obvious, like, yeah, obviously I should be protected, but the reality is Phantom's competitors don't really have any infrastructure in place. So when you're dealing with Phantom, you're dealing with a super legible interface that keeps you informed and keeps you in control. And with Phantom support for multiple Ethereum and Solana seed phrases, you can import and manage all your wallets in one place without the need to send NFTs or transfer assets. So just import your existing seed phrases, import all of them. Ethereum, Solana, whatever, import them into Phantom. Fund your ETH wallet on Phantom with some ETH and just get cooking, because it's a much better user experience. I would be very surprised if you keep using another wallet after you start using Phantom. It's just dope. So go to phantom.app, phantom.app, and fund your ETH wallet for the ultimate NFT and crypto experience for that matter. So note, we got you here to talk about art, to talk about the state of the art market. We already discussed this Sotheby's auction, yet another one in this bear market. There have been a bunch, and it feels like a lot of people in the NFT space have not put the respect on those auctions that they deserve. We just talked, that's the Sotheby's Grails Part 3 auction from the seized Three Arrows Capital portfolio. What do you make of everything that's happening in the art world?
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, the Sotheby's auction has been, I feel like when you look at some of the prices, it feels like people are overpaying a lot of the time. I think it was Deez yesterday that mentioned, like, hey, you guys know you can just hop on OpenSea and buy, ringers directly from us, right? You don't have to go through Chris Deez. He's like, where are these trad guys coming? We need to teach them how to get on chain so they can buy our bags. But it's really encouraging, honestly, because there's every single Sotheby's auction that's happened, like nothing's come in below like floor, really, right? They've all been over floor prices. They've all been successful. So it's encouraging. And we've had, you've seen as well, like a lot of the hoodie CryptoPunk sales over the last week or so. So there's still like demand for these high-end assets, which I think is exciting. In addition to that,
I was wondering real quick with the like the Sotheby's and stuff like that. I was wondering if they would eventually maybe become the marketplace for like mid rares. You know what I mean? Where like people that like, because mid rares is like a very illiquid market in NFTs. I'm not sure about, or in collectibles. I'm not sure about with art, but I was wondering if that's what people are using it for. Or do you literally think people like why? Because you're saying like, why are people buying through Sotheby's? But on the flip side, why are these people selling through Sotheby's?
Well, yeah, this is Three Arrows Capital's portfolio liquidation. That's why it's going through Sotheby's.
I thought the ones that sold yesterday, I thought someone like was bulk selling all of those. Those were all still Three Arrows, like the.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think it's all still 3AC, but yeah, there is mid rares is like I mean, there's never been a liquid marketplace for mid rares. So,
and you're talking about mid rares for fine art, because at this point, the only collectibles that Sotheby's or Christie's would touch, I think, is really high end Bored Apes, like, you know, suit apes or like gold apes and CryptoPunks. That's
I was just saying that there's probably more liquidity on like floor chromie squiggles, and then like the ultimate grail chromie squiggles, and then you have these mid rares, with just like with PFPs, they're rare but it's hard to like get a price and get liquidity there. I was just curious, but sorry for derailing.
No, it's okay. And I think it's actually interesting that you bring this up, because I don't think Sotheby's is going to do an auction where they're like, all right, we're auctioning off 20 different chromie squiggles. They have to have some sort of narrative associated with it. The narrative here is that it's the C's Three Arrows Capital portfolio.
Yeah,
right?
and I think and it's I think it's great because they're basically the one avenue to sell to trad collectors, right? That has a really strong marketing presence on the trad side. So I feel like there's probably some collectors out there that are traditional art collectors, and they know Sotheby's or they know Christie's, and you know, the Christie's and Sotheby's are who they look to, right? To say, okay, this is what you should buy. You know, we're only going to auction off quality assets here, or quality art. So I think that's exciting. Beyond the Sotheby's stuff, there's been a huge proliferation of just like lots of different platforms that are launching art. So, I mean, we have Verseworks, we've got Tonic, you have Braindrops, you've got Prohibition, which just launched on Arbitrum. So there's a lot of different platforms that are launching art these days. And I gotta throw one of these. I'll throw one of these in the chat so you guys can pull it up. But there is a new collection. I haven't bought it yet, but I'm eyeing it. It looks phenomenal. There's a new collection there, and this was launched on Verseworks, and I didn't catch the mint, but it looks awesome. I'm a sucker for, like, you know, Asian motifs and stuff, so I think this looks really cool. But this was like a generative AI project that dropped, and the floor is already holding up like really well. It's up from I think the mint was around 0.5 or about 1,000. And yeah, the collection name is Yamabushi's Horizons by Richard Nadler. And it just looks, I mean, this looks sick. Like, and some of the higher ones, like the higher floor, higher price ones, they look phenomenal. So there's a lot of cool art that's dropping, and a lot of different collections that are showing up. So
no, it's good to see. I was having dinner with a friend last night, and he collects art in the NFT space. He's got some art pieces that are pretty high value from some notable artists. And I was talking to him about how a significant percentage of the artists in the NFT space have, quote unquote, fumbled the way that they've approached their supplies, like kind of dropped too much to continue to make, you know, really income for themselves. And I think take for granted the market for their art, and it resulted in, you know, the price going down. And he immediately brought up, he was like, well, I read somewhere that, you know, some artists, like from Da Vinci's time, maybe it was Da Vinci, maybe it was someone else, you know, made a piece every day for X number of years. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Number one, that's like literally Leonardo da Vinci. But number two, Da Vinci didn't make an algorithm or make, like, you know, a software, you know, he didn't code something out and then drop 8,000 pieces and be like, here you go. I just did the math. To drop 8,000 pieces, if you did one every day, that would take 22 years. I don't have a problem with that. I'm all for that. But I feel like some of these artists that are just like, all right, cool, yeah, here's another 6,000 supply of my artwork. You know, I don't know how well it's going to hold up.
But Da Vinci did invent the helicopter. So he could have actually had a tool to help him draw quicker.
He was the Renaissance man, right? Architect, engineer, artist, incredible, right? Sculptor. But anyway, Node, you know, what artists do you think are really, really, really doing it right when it comes to maneuvering in the art market, which, by the way, is insanely difficult? So I don't want to make it seem like, oh, yo, it's so easy to just go and have the value of your art be millions and millions of dollars. It's incredibly difficult, but there are people that are doing it very well, and they're doing it better than their peers.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously love the generative art stuff, so I'm gonna be biased looking on that side of things. But I think
you got to be careful with supply with that stuff, though.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you do. You have to be very careful with supply and not drop too many, you know, all at once, and probably only drop one or two collections a year is probably a good way to look at it. Dmitry Cherniak has done an amazing job, right? Like he launched Ringers, and then he launched Light Years, which is like a 100 supply collection, right? Very small. You see these other artists. I would say William Mapon has done a really nice job. He did Anti-Cyclones, and people love his work. I picked up Strands of Solitude. That was actually a Tonic XYZ drop. And that was a smaller collection size. So he's done a terrific job, and he's actually putting out some really interesting outputs these days of it looks like paint, right? But it's not, of course, it's just code. But he's doing a lot of interesting stuff there as well. And then I don't know, who I love looking at his work is Rafiq Anadol. He's still dropping like really cool stuff all the time. And getting into, you're seeing his work in museums and everything like that.
He's favored by the art world, it seems, quite a bit.
Yeah. And he just dropped another collection that I want it. It's a cool drop. It comes with it's his traditional what do you call it? Like, video, right? It's animated and it's 60 seconds long, but it comes with a print as well, of a printed output of it, which is pretty interesting. So a lot of cool, I think it's called like Yawanawa. So that, it looks, the prints look cool. They look legit. So I like the idea that a lot of these artists are dropping, the platform Tonic, for example, every single drop they do, you can purchase a print, right? So I like that they're doing that. It kind of, marrying the two art worlds together of, traditional, you can have a physical print and you've got the digital NFT there as provenance. And as, if you want to display it digitally as well. But yeah, I think those are a few artists that I think, Jack Butcher, another one that's really interesting in terms of like an artist that's capturing obviously everything. I sold one of my Opepins, during this last craze, just because they were everywhere. You couldn't escape them. But Jack Butcher's, I think he's done a beautiful job of being like a very Web3 native artist and, pushing the medium and turning the fact that this is a social media experience into art, right? Like this is all part of art. I think it's really cool. But when you talk about supply, I think that's interesting because, Opepins have a high supply, right? Like checks had a high supply. They're obviously kind of deflationary if you're doing the
but those are traded as collectibles. They are. Like if you got your typical NFT degen buying it, it's a collectible at that point, and I'm not cheapening it or discrediting it. I'm just pointing it out, like that's how that got treated by the market. It's different than if, some artist drops like a 1,000 run generative art piece that's trying to get the attention of like people that buy art blocks and people that buy, these different it is treated as a collectible.
Yeah. I think that's fair. But it is interesting, right? Like the people that love Jack Butcher, they're huge. They're topally sold, and they believe in him as an artist, and they think his work is pure art. So I think it's really interesting, especially the Opepins that are more rare, right? They're selling for 20, 30 ETH. But I think you're right. It's like this hybrid of, is it art or is it a Bored Ape, right? Like it's right in between. But if you talk to somebody that loves Opepins, they're going to tell you that it's art and it's only art, right? Which is interesting.
Yeah, that conversation doesn't really matter though at the end of the day, right? It's just what the market how the market treats it. I want to comment though about how healthy the fine art side of the NFT space actually is. Look at the liquidity on Fidenzas. There's legit liquidity. There's been 6 or 7 sales in the past month. That's a $150,000 piece of digital art. And you got 7 sales a month. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Like, come on now. That's pretty damn good. Nick, you came back. Something to chime in with, Nick?
Well, the only thing I just wanted to say is Jack Butcher, another Nifty Nick podcast guest. It's just basically, if you were on that show for that sequence, basically pretty much that's a 90% hit rate.
It's a 9%. Nick, you're a kingmaker. What can we say? You are a kingmaker. It's a prerequisite to go on your show.
I just want to take credit for Jack Butcher's success, basically.
It's because of you. Oh, look at that.
Look at that. Look at it.
Because of me. There you go.
What's the date on this? Ladies and gentlemen, on the YouTube show, we have this brilliantly crafted thumbnail of the Nifty Nick podcast. Those fonts aren't stock fonts that come in Adobe Photoshop. He totally went and bought those fonts. Anyway, we got Jack Butcher. Nick's. See, I just struck a chord with Nick. He's like, it's a good font. I'm like, we'll see about that. But anyway, let's take a look.
I'm sorry, dude. All of your title slides are just Helvetica. You're making 1987 movies. I realized when Pio makes his title slides now where his inspiration came from when I watched Good Will Hunting. Good Will Hunting, the introduction there, the title sequence is quite basic. That's one of the best parts of watching some of these old movies is to see the technology available at that time for like title sequences. And essentially it's just like straight up, just like Helvetica. And it's just like slap it on there. Good Will Hunting.
Oh, I'm gonna call up Gus Van Sant and tell him, hey, my business partner Nifty Nick thinks that your title sequence sucked. And by the way, if Helvetica Bold's been good enough for Martin Scorsese for decades, it's good enough for me, amigo. But back to what we were talking about, you being a
Scorsese. That's the whole point about that, though, dude. Like it's not like you add Helvetica Bold and suddenly you're Martin Scorsese. He gets to do that because he can do an understated thing, and you're like, damn, this is Martin Scorsese right here. This is a piece of art. Anyways, we went off on a complete tangent there. We're
talking fonts. I mean, people need to hear about the fonts. You took it personally that I called you out for fonts. It's okay. You can't be good at everything. Nick, you're good at a bunch of things, and sometimes I feel like you want to just be perceived as good at everything. Okay. I don't think you're good at bobsledding, amigos. I hate to break it to you. Have
you ever gone bobsledding? Have you ever seen me on a bobsled? Maybe I'm actually pretty good, and I think you're underestimating it. Okay,
I'm just saying. You don't have to be good at everything, buddy. It's okay to have weaknesses. Anyway, Node, any closing thoughts before we bring on the special guest of the day, the Rug Radio Gang, OSF, Mando, and the one and only Farouk. I see Farouk's got a hat on. He's ready for the show. Everybody's wearing hats. Anyway.
Will the show fit this many people?
We're going to figure it out. We're going to make it fit. Nick. Node, any closing thoughts on the art side of the NFT market?
No, I'm just excited. As always, I think there's always a lot of opportunity. Again, if you're looking at art, you have to look at it with a longer term horizon. But you're right. It's exciting looking at fidenzas that still have liquidity. I mean, I think I was reading Tyler Didit's newsletter this morning, the Morning Minute. And I mean, he mentioned it's a day after, a bunch of these art drops. And he's like, there hasn't been any movement on a lot of them. And, if you were in the traditional art world and somebody was like, oh, none of these pieces have sold since yesterday, right? That's kind of absurd. And so the idea that we're still moving, a lot of art on a regular basis in Web3, on a weekly basis, every other week, it's exciting and it's encouraging. And I'll just close with this. Nifty Nick, I have seen him on a bobsled. It was actually an alpine bobsled. And he dominated. He crushed it on that thing, and he was happy and he was excited and he was in his element. So
nobody's bobsledded like your boy has bobsledded, basically. But Pio didn't realize that. Look, I'm multifaceted to a degree that even he doesn't appreciate. So
yeah, you're good at everything. We all know, man. We all know. Well, yeah, look, and Node, one last thought, actually. That same friend I was having dinner with last night, what he said was, he was like, look, I'm trying to position myself to get a chromie squiggle. Because he was like, I don't want to be getting in and out of this stuff. He's like, I want to buy something and just have it sit there and wait a really long time for it to appreciate. And when he said that about Chromie Squiggle, I was like, I think that's a good call. Because look, not that many people can buy a Fidenza for 140 or 150,000 bucks. I'm just saying that's a high-end piece of art to be buying. Not that many people can do that. But there are NFT DJs look, you can buy a Captains for 6.4, and a lot of people listening to the show own Captains, or you could buy a Chromie Squiggle. What's the floor on that now? 10?
Yeah, it's right around 10. Yep.
I'm just
Chromie
saying.
Squiggles, I think they're phenomenal. I mean, if I could only buy one thing right now, and I didn't have like crazy amounts of ETH, it'd be a Chromie Squiggle for sure. They have the most liquidity of most any gen art project. They're iconic, and I think there's a real world where you see those at a 40 ETH floor in the next bull run. You know, like no problem.
ETH at 10K.
What's that?
ETH at 10K.
ETH at 10K. Yep. So those are gonna what, sell for about 400K a piece, something like that.
I want to talk about.
I'm kicking myself. Didn't these get down to like 5 ETH during the bleed out last year?
Yeah, like 5-6 ETH. Yeah.
Such a mistake by the market. I mean,
That was
good
one of my
God.
calls, and I just didn't I literally did not buy that trade. Go, Clemente, pull up my call. Just
No,
it's
we
on
know-
deck. Just
It
pull it
was
up
one
real
your
quick.
call. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Just pull it up right now.
But and I'm glad you brought that up, Node, because that's something I want to talk about with our ultra special guest. We've been talking about doing, Clemente pulled up the Gary V thing that Nick bought for $10,000. Anyway, we've been talking about doing this for a really long time. The day has finally come. Quite frankly, it wasn't very hard to set up, so I don't really know why as a unit we have all been procrastinating this, but this is a very special edition of this show, ladies and gentlemen. It is a collab show with the gang from Rug Radio. Here we go. We got the one and only Mando, OSF, and of course, the king of Web3, Farouk. Oh, look at the pepper hat.
Yo.
Welcome to the show,
What's up,
gentlemen.
guys?
How we doing?
We're
Yeah,
chilling.
glad to be here. Glad to be here.
hell
Excited. I feel a bit nervous. I'm like, oh, like all these people and stuff. Like,
We'll be good. We'll just kicks off screen if he starts interrupting everybody.
I'm
Mando,
on mute, dog. I'm on mute.
Mando,
Don't
so
move
nice
your
of
head.
you. So nice of you to bring the studio mic today.
I
Thank you.
know, I know. I'm traveling, so I've been. It's been a budget setup for the last couple of days for sure. This is actually the best setup that I've had in a couple of days. I look
He's
like I
in
was in a dungeon the last two.
He's in the private jet hangar right now, waiting on his flight while he
Another
calls in.
hour, guys.
he's officially changed his first name to Mario, so it's now.
Yeah, this is Mario's headset. True story. That I opened up the DMs to ask him what headset he uses. If it's good enough for Mario, it's good enough for me. I decided.
I mean, just being outdoors and having a headset and having someone point a camera at you, it just makes you incredibly legit. People want to listen to you. News people are going to say, who is this guy? So I love it. Farouk, how's it been going at Rug Radio? Before we kind of dive in, I'd love to know what's going on with you guys.
Listen, we're doing good.
Are you Nick's dad? Is that what it says under your name? What's going on there?
Whoa, who's that? Is that Clemente or was that Jazz? Like, it's someone. Listen. I have no idea how that ended up over there. But I guess it is what it is. Listen, I was watching the show since an hour on YouTube. You were all wearing hats, and I'm like, is this like an attire on Nifty morning show? So
I'm the only one that takes a shower actually on this team, which is actually one of the issues that I have with this show is that I'm the only one that's properly washed before the show. Pio frequently talks about professionalism. Your boy wakes up and takes a shower, like proper humans do.
I like that. I mean, I think on our end, it's usually Mando that does so. Right before the show. Usually tends to shower like 5 minutes before the show. But no, we're doing good over here at Rug Radio. Listen, we had our town hall yesterday after 5 weeks. Things are rolling. We're working. We're grinding. We've been doing it all bear market like you guys. So finally, we're doing this. I know it's crazy. It took so long, but it happened. So part one, let's go. Your turf. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. And it was easy. I mean, we just made Clemente and Golden do everything. So that was it wasn't a heavy lift for any of us. Look, I want to talk to the traders extraordinaire here because so maybe like 3-4 weeks ago on this show, I brought up that I had seen a tweet, I want to say from OSF, I think it was from you, OSF, where you were talking about how you were going to maybe wait for a dip before you bought more like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I think that this was with Bitcoin at 30,000. And what I was thinking at that time, I was like, but isn't this also a good price on Bitcoin when we know that historically the cycle following the halving, there's always higher highs. And so our all-time high at this point is 69K. But then recently I've seen some really great clips from your show and tweets from you where you're basically like, this might be the start of the next bull run. you don't want to miss it. Your downside risk is low versus your upside potential. So I want to know what made that switch. And then my second part is, aren't we early for the next bull run if you look at historical examples of the halving and crypto cycles?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think since I made that comment about waiting for dips, we've had two quite significant major developments. The first one is obviously BlackRock and Fidelity filing for ETFs, and the second one is Ripple at least winning some form of like preliminary stage of that case.
Beating the case, man. Beating the case.
Yeah, like Gary in tears. So I think though, for me, like those are two very, very significant things. On top of that, you've had US inflation coming at 3%. So that's like, from this time last year, where it's like 9.7% all the way to 3%, which is just 1% above the Fed's target. Like that's a huge move as well. And you've had strong labor market data and stuff that people may be worried about from a rate standpoint, but it's good. Like you have lower inflation, a strong economy in the US, and you have two significant major developments for crypto. So I think, yes, be patient, wait for dips, et cetera. But sometimes you have to recognize paradigm shifts, and you have to recognize when you have a piece of information or news that is big, that will have a significant impact, and then you have to slightly change your views. And for me, that hasn't been like buying more Bitcoin. It hasn't been buying more ETH, but it's given me some comfort and some thought into like buying things like, well, now I'm thinking about how do I outperform ETH, or how do I outperform Bitcoin in the next cycle? And do you start looking at altcoins? Yeah. Do you look at Solana? I've looked at Solana for a long time. I didn't touch it, and I kind of wish I did. But the story changes from like DCAing in a bear market to, right, do I have enough things in like the high risk part of my portfolio, which by the way I don't think is yet NFTs, but do I have enough risk there such that if ETH does do a 2x or a 3x next year, am I making my 10 to 25 to 50x's on the other stuff? And I think that for me is the focus. And that doesn't mean like go out there and buy like, put 100% of your net worth into like some random shitcoin, but it does mean, do you want to have 5% or 10% of your portfolio in some riskier stuff just so you get the upside if we do have a real bull run? Because remember in 2021, like we had that massive alt season and stuff was up like 100x, 200x in that time period. And if you were smart enough to buy some of it in 2020, you would have made that money. So I don't know if we'll see an exact repeat of that, and I may be wrong, but you want to take that shot. Like we're all here to try and make some good returns, right? And if I'm wrong, whatever, it's down 20%, 30%, maybe 50 on altcoins. But if you're right, you have a good chance of making that 50x or 100x, whatever it is. And I want to play those odds right now.
Well, I appreciate the response. And you guys made like, one of the most iconic trades in the NFT history, which was when you pressed a button and sold $9 million worth of Bored Apes. A pretty good deal, right? And is that through a fund? Do you do that through a fund?
No, it's just Mando. It's all just Mando and I. It's our personal capital. Yeah.
Pia's like, explain your tax structure for me, and what exactly is going on there? Where are you avoiding taxes?
Well, I'm trying.
Well, look, Mando lives in Lisbon, no crypto tax, and in the UK it's just 20%. So we're all right there.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to understand it. And so, like, I know you guys are ETH bulls. Do you keep that 9 million in ETH when something like that happens, or do you diversify it? And then also, what's your exposure to Bitcoin like?
I don't know. You want to go ahead, Mando?
Yeah, sure. We kept it pretty much all in ETH. I think OSF like sold some for taxes, but then we kept it all in ETH at the time. And then like pretty soon afterwards, it was all that regional banking crisis stuff. So it got a little bit hairy, but we held it throughout that. And then to be honest, like just what Obi said, like we feel in that stages of a market cycle, we think we're kind of heading towards the disbelief stage, like the slow rise and people being like, this is a fool's rally, you won't trap me, all this sort of crap. And this is just the time that I guess over the last couple of months, we've dialed it up from just ETH to a few more like degenerate plays, I would say. So like we got, I don't know, just owning spot ETH, maybe that's not very degenerate for some people. I would say that's like maybe 6 or 7, but maybe for people outside of crypto, they might be like, that's like 10. Inside of crypto, I think that's seen as, I don't know, kind of mild. I think over the last month or two, we've dialed it up to kind of 9. Let's say we're not a full-blown degenerate, but like we think we're at the foothills of what could be the start of a bull market. And I think I think that can also, you might have until the end of the year to like put the risk on. It doesn't feel like ETH tomorrow is going to go to 3K. It just feels as though a lot of the narratives that could sustain a bull market, I think, are still around, and there's not that many people, which just feels like the start of a bull market. Like that feels good because you know that some of these are they're not raging bull markets at this stage.
Did you guys buy a bunch of Rollbit? Yeah, you went max deep on Rollbit token.
So, funnily enough, we deposited all 72 apes into Rollbit, and they gave you some coin. They gave you equivalent of like I think 10,000 or 100,000 tokens for each ape that you deposited back then. So at one stage we had like 7.2 million Rollbit tokens, and then we used it some of it on their they have like an internal like staking thing. So we actually have far fewer left. We still have like millions, but yeah, we do have a decent amount of Rollbit token.
Good to hear. And I definitely want to talk to Farouk about NFT trading in just a sec, because I think Farouk is kind of a slept on savvy NFT trader specifically. But just one more thing on the timing of the cycle. You know, you guys are speculating that this might be the start of the next bull run. You know, the cycles aren't identical, right? So last time we saw some new things. We saw the mid-cycle bear market. We saw a lower all-time high, like a less significant blow off top on like Bitcoin and Ethereum specifically. You know, we also had the Black Swan event of the crypto drop in, I want to say, March 2020. This next halving is expected to come in April 2024. The previous halving, if I recall correctly, was in May 2020. So it's right on the same schedule. Does this, like, how important is this to you guys? Do you not care? Are you looking at other things compared to that? Because you know that this stuff is going to be different every time. So you don't want to be married to the previous patterns.
I think it could be similar to the last pattern. And even though the last halving was in whatever, May 2020, we didn't really see like the real rally until the huge rally until 2021, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, you want to be in a position like I felt like when I came into the first time I ever bought crypto was January 2021. And when I was looking at altcoins and stuff in 2021, I was like, man, like I want to buy this stuff, but it's already up 500, like, you know, 500% or already up 1,000%, 2,000%, whatever it is. Like, I feel like I'm late to the party. Whereas now I feel like we're ahead of that, right? We're before that. And so I want to be in a position where when we get to that point, which I think the real rally is going to be 2024 after the halving or into the halving. I don't think it's going to be this year. I think we'll end the year higher than where we are now, but we're not going to see like the mega crazy rallies that we saw until next year. I want to be in a position where like I actually already bought that stuff when it's doing that 1,000%, 2,000%. So I don't have to be like, oh, do I want to buy here or not? I can make the decision as to whether I want to sell or not. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is like, yeah, I think it's the start of the bull cycle, but that shouldn't be conflated with next week all our bags going to do like a 10x or next month our bags going to do a 10x. It's going to be, you know, kind of flat. You'll have dips, you'll have opportunities to buy, but I think you want to, it's like you're building this position, building this portfolio that you're happy with. So when we get into the middle of the bull run, rather than at the beginning, you can actually benefit from the gains and then decide where to take profits and be in a much stronger position.
Well, OSF, I got a question for you. So, because I feel like I'm good at finding bags and buying bags, but then I struggle with the conviction to hold it to right, because it's not just finding the next 1,000x or 100x. It's buying it and then holding it to 100x. So like in 2021, I bought Matic for like 20 cents. I put in like 10 or 20 grand and it went to 60 cents. And I'm like, dude, this is amazing. And then I just remember the pain of watching it go all the way to $3 before we had that like 2021 crash. So how do you guys look at, you know, when do you figure out the right time to sell, right? That's half the game. It's not just buying, it's holding until the right time to sell.
When do you press the button and get $9 million for your apes?
I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
No, I was going to say, like, weirdly, I think us doing it together helped. Like, and even Ovi, like, he tries to create a barrier between himself and like the like his ledger or wherever he wants to transact, because he doesn't want to be able to touch it. You know, you don't want to get trigger happy and be like, oh, it's up 50% of the day. I made so much. I'll just take a little bit of profit. You kind of want to like make sure it's going to be a bit of an effort for you to have to do that. With those bags, you're like, right, I want to own this through the next cycle because it's going to be.
It's not just having the ledger. You go bury it like in your backyard, like 6 feet down. So you really got to put in some effort to go sell.
But genuinely, like me doing it with Ovi, like that created that right, we have to sit down and discuss what we're going to do. You know, like it created that extra bit of just, we couldn't be trigger happy with some of this stuff. Like we discuss everything we do because we do it together. And I'm not saying everyone should just partner up and find a friend to do it, but I think having that idea that you will, if you don't have those sort of barriers, you don't have that person second guessing your decision making, even if it's yourself, then you're going to overtrade. You're 100% going to overtrade for some of these bags that you could own for like 3-5 years.
I would say something that's important is like every cycle, like write down on a piece of paper what the mistakes you were that you made and what you think you could do better. And for me, like prior to this cycle, it was like, well, I didn't buy the dip. I was too scared. So this time around, that was my main focus. I was like, buy the dip, DCA, make sure I do that. And then for the last time, a mistake that I made, I did it again this time with Pepe. Like I had one, I probably fumbled about 20 million bucks from Pepe because I sold it after 3x and bought it early. But that mistake that I've made a few times now is selling too early, and that's because I haven't set myself a game plan. I haven't been like, this is where I'm going to sell 10%, this is where I'm going to sell 20%, this is where I'm going to sell 30%. So what I've done for myself here, so I don't repeat that mistake, is like set myself levels of when I'm going to make the next sale, how much I'm going to sell, what percentage, and then make sure I have a ladder all the way up so I don't just sell the whole thing in one go, which is what I've done in the past, and stick to it. The most important thing is to stick to it. If you don't stick to it and if you deviate, then you're doing yourself a disservice. So for me, like next cycle, that's the thing I really want to work on. It's like just being disciplined to piece out of my position. So I'm such an all or nothing guy, but piece out percentage wise at certain levels, stick to it. And I think that's the way to do it. And it should be the same for you, Kicks. Like that should be the thing that you're working on for this cycle as well.
Amen.
Obi,
go ahead, Sig. Yeah.
No. Hey, I saw you tweeting earlier this year about getting into art and getting into the high end. Saw you buying, I think it was some punks, Fidenzas you bought as well. I've seen that you're now in Sam Spratt. How you think? So we've talked about how you're thinking about tokens. How are you thinking about positioning yourself for the art market going into the next bull?
I really, something that I still feel very strongly about NFTs and art is we are 6 years into this digital age movement, and the art market appreciates in weird ways that no one can sometimes explain, and it still prevents a massive opportunity. But it's just different to tokens because it's less liquid and things move slower and it takes a bit longer to play out. But I'm just like, I really like the stuff that I've collected, and I think it's a kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity to collect things that could represent pieces of history or pieces of culture. And that's why I bought a Fidenza, I bought a punk, I bought an autoglyph, I bought an ACK piece and the Sam Spratt piece. I'm a huge fan of those guys as well. But I just feel like I bought stuff that I just want to own really, and hopefully never have to sell. But if levels get to certain levels, and sometimes you do sell. But these are things that I think are really, really iconic to not only the NFT market but just to digital art, and I think they will have a strong place as in the history of digital art, the history of NFTs, and that's why I want to buy them. And it's, if I came in today and I was like, what can I make the most money on that's most liquid? It wouldn't be this stuff. And I think I've been in a fortunate position where I've had some profits to roll into it. But yeah, I think, for those who have more ETH to spend and bigger wallets, I think this really is like a once in a lifetime or once in a decade opportunity to buy pieces that could really be iconic, that you can say you're kind of like proud to own in a few years.
And I want to ask Farouk a question about, trading NFTs in just a sec, but just one follow-up on this. When I look at that list of the art pieces that you acquired, I see a lot of the names that I typically see when I talk to people that are full-time operating on the art side of the market as, the artists that are favored by the space. So I think you made really, really strong buys, Sam Spratt, Tyler Hobbs, CryptoPunks, obviously, and some of the other names. I didn't see Beeple on there. Do you have any exposure to Beeple? Because my understanding is in the trad art world, Beeple is still heavily favored.
I need to own some Beeple. Like I chat to him quite a lot. He's just a great fucking dude, and I love his art. Like it's literally right up my street. So I have zero reason why I don't own any Beeple pieces. So definitely something I want to change.
There you go. Yeah, this one was pretty. Me and Farouk were on a call when this one came out. It's pretty damn funny.
I love that. That.
Farouk, we went through a stat on the show. I think it was yesterday. It was yesterday or the day before that 90% of people that bought NFTs in the past 30 days are down 1 ETH, so almost like $2,000 US, if they bought in the past month, whether realized or unrealized. So it's a tough time to give a sales pitch to someone that doesn't buy NFTs that it's a good time to buy NFTs. How have you been operating? Because I think a lot of people might not, process, because you do so much with media and with, you're just so well known in the space. They don't know that you're like a really savvy trader, in my opinion. How have you been operating when it comes to NFT trading?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been like trading NFTs in a long time. For obvious reasons. I got kind of tired of it. And I didn't see much upside in it either, versus like the headache that comes associated to it. Somehow when you buy and sell ERC20s, you're cool, right? It's fine, right? So but 721's a little different. So I've kind of been stepping aside, but also I know there's a bunch of opportunity in the space at the moment, and some NFT trades have probably been very good for people, but it's just too much work to be on top of it. I would say just right now in this market, it's been a good time to, like, for example, when Nakamigos, that was a good trade for the people who were early. You could have seen it coming almost. Like, I remember being in Nakamigos space for fun, like 0.02, and didn't pull the trigger, but I still found it hilarious. And that ended up being kind of fruitful for people who bought it. I think went to 0.9 or something. But I'm mostly focused right now on the coins as well. Like, I think it's the Mando and OSF effect, probably, but it's I've heavily been copy trading my co-hosts on very obvious tokens that are
Coins are easier, like you said. It's easy to get in and out, and you don't get flamed when you sell either.
You don't. You can just do your thing, and there's no hassle, and it's more liquid. But there's, when it comes to NFT trades, I've just been like staying away from it, just because like I'm honestly like a little scarred. Like even like when you look at the portfolio for NFTs, like I ran up a portfolio to like mid 7 figures. Sorry, I wish in mid 7 figures in 2021 with just $3,000 investment in crypto that I made in January 2021. Right, it was my first time I bought Ether Bitcoin. And then after seeing it like collapse like that, and then seeing teams fumble after fumble, from the founder's perspective here, you get a little tired of it. So if anything, double down on our own assets. Like Mando and Steph and I have probably accumulated like 1,300 Rug Radio NFTs over the last 6 months. I know they've been buying back a bunch of rec guys as well. So that's pretty much the play has just been kind of like double downing on ourselves.
So I did the same thing. I'm trying to figure out, though, not that I want to sell right now, but like how can we even exit that position? Like where like I feel like I already have a position, which is like I got to get the company like acquired at some point. But am I being just a complete fool by like acquiring it? That obviously I have immense conviction in ourselves, which is why I end up buying it. But then I'm like, wait, hold on. You're just kind of locked into this position. Talk about like not being able to click the button.
Like, Nick, remember in the bull run when you bullied me because I didn't have enough Nifty portals? And so I bought 20 more at the literal top of ETH and NFT market just so you wouldn't make fun of me.
Okay, well, I don't know if I was bullying you at the peak top of the price.
Yeah, you were like, oh, Nick, by the way, check the chain. Looks like you don't care about this as much as Pio and I do.
Well,
I gave away all mine. I've given away like 25 grand worth of our NFT, which I don't regret at all, but it's a lot of money to get. Yeah. I don't give away $25,000 normally. It's not like my everyday thing, but hey, I've done it.
Well, I gave it to Gary V, so that's what I did with mine. So that was a pretty good approach, and I've done that repeatedly. So that was a good. I mean, at least I know he was struggling for a bit there, and so I'm glad that I was able to.
Yeah, you propped him up,
contribute to the cause, and keep him afloat.
Well, one thing Farouk brought up is, the difference between trading tokens versus NFTs. And, OSF, you brought up buying these fine art pieces. We were just talking about it with Node. I think Node might have dipped. But basically, I wonder if we get blow off tops the way people are expecting on Bitcoin and ETH. And I mean, with this ETF stuff, I feel like we might return to the real blow off tops, right? I feel like NFTs got the blow off top when you look at January 2022 and the volume on NFTs there. That's kind of where the crypto blow off top went. But if it does kind of come back to Bitcoin and Ethereum, How do you think that impacts the pricing of these NFTs? Like, it almost makes me feel like it's a hard case to make to spend, 30 Ethereum on a single NFT, because if Ethereum goes to $9,000, that's so much money, and it's just going to be hard for the NFTs to keep up, especially since the novelty of NFTs, it's already been experienced where they were cool. Farouk made a comment in a call I had with him the other day where he was like, yeah, that was back when NFTs were cool. So I was getting tickets to, go to like this concert because I was an NFT guy and stuff like that. That ain't happening anymore, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not getting, like Tiesto tickets because I'm an NFT guy. So how do you think about that, kind of the difference between the underlying token like ETH versus the NFT prices long term?
That really is the age-old question. What happens to NFT prices when ETH goes up? What happens to NFT prices when ETH goes down? My view is you have two different effects. You have this effect of like the opportunity cost of your ETH. So it's like if ETH is rising 5 or 10% every day, you're like, shit, I want to own ETH because it's going up in dollars, so I want to sell my NFTs. The other effect you have is this thing called the wealth effect. So if ETH does like a 2x or a 3x, and you're like, man, like I'm rich, like I've got all this money.
Yes.
What do I want to spend it on? I want to go out there and buy a fucking zombie punk, or go out there and buy a Fidenza, or something that I can flex to show people that I've done so well in this market, right? That's the wealth effect. So I think the reality is like for local moves, for like a 1 day big move in ETH, or 1 week, or maybe even 1 month, you'll see NFT prices go lower. That's just generally seems to be the case. But if you get ETH back to 5K and beyond, I think the initial move is NFT prices lower in ETH, but then people start spending that ETH because they just want, when you have more disposable income, you go out there and buy things you like. And at the end of the day, I think people do want to collect NFTs. And that's why I think like the high end stuff is good stuff to own, because, it's like, oh, I'm going to go out there and buy an autoglyph because I want to flex that I own one of these iconic pieces, or a Fidenza or a punk. You could even probably put like rare apes in that bucket as well, which I think are interesting now at current prices. But that's what I think happens. And I may be wrong. Like, who knows? The market's still very nascent to really judge how things will move and what it will do. And I think the other thing you have to bear in mind is like, it's not just a function of the first order of price movements of ETH, it's the second order. So it's ETH volatility. So if ETH moves up or down really quickly in a very short space of time, people are like, I don't want to touch NFTs. I don't know what's going on here. I just want to not do anything. But if it's like a gradual movement, then it gives time to like normalize and people can act. So, that's another factor to consider. But the answer is it's not an easy answer, and we'll have to see what happens this time around. But my gut is, if we get back to 5K, it will take a bit of time, and then people will start buying NFTs again, which is why I think the NFT rally will just be later. It'll be delayed to the crypto rally.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're thinking through it in a really fascinating way. Clemente put into the call sheet a topic which is Skulls of Lucy. So this is Sam Spratt. I think it's really interesting, the steady rise of Sam Spratt on the fine art side of the NFT space, of the digital art world. He's been, someone told me that he's basically like a top 3 artist at this point in terms of, the traditional art world's interest in NFTs. Looks like last week, Snowfro traded 2 Chromie Squiggles and a CryptoPunk for a Skull of Lucy. Seems like Skull of Lucy is becoming like the signal that you are a fine art collector. It can be used as a profile picture, which is NFT native as well. What inspired you guys to get exposure to Sam Spratt?
I think Sam is one of the most talented artists within the crypto art space right now. I think obviously like his technical work is amazing and it's brilliant, and his pieces are so intricate, but he is such a brilliant storyteller. And the Skulls of Lucy and all the different chapters of Lucy, everything that he's created so far has a story behind it. And it's a story that hasn't finished being told. And I think what you guys will see with the Skulls of Lucy, there's going to be more to the story later on this year. I think Sam has an amazing plan, and everything here is like, it's been very intricately planned over the course of weeks and months and possibly even years. I don't know how long Sam's had these ideas in his head before. But it's super interesting. I just think, part of buying art is storytelling and getting, lost in like some kind of amazing tale that someone is telling and just wanting to feel and be a part of it. And that's how I felt with Sam's art. And I think he's one of few artists that really do that so effectively at such a high level, to be honest with you. Like, I can't think of anyone else. I mean, maybe like Pac in the bull market was like, oh, everyone's like, I want to be part of this, and they got rugged. And, maybe Jack Butcher is another example. Everyone wants to be a part of what he's doing. and be involved in it. It feels interactive, and I think that's what Sam's going to be achieving with this, and that that was the reason for it, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's super cool stuff. Since we have you guys and you guys were, TradFi traders for such a long time, I'd love to ask about just the current, situation from a macro perspective. I listen to a lot of different podcasts on this. We have the Bitcoin show on Tuesday where I get the opportunity to, talk with people that are a lot smarter than me when it comes to all things, finance and macro. And it's hard for me to come to a conclusion. I mean, obviously it's hard for everybody, but like when I think about what's going on right now from a macro perspective, we see stocks nearing all-time highs again. We saw Bitcoin rally, a bunch this year and crypto rallying. Obviously NFTs are basically at their bottom. But the Fed has rates extremely high. People are speculating that they're going to continue to hike rates. What do you make of where we're at? Like, do you think markets are forward looking and markets expect a bounce back? And so, you shouldn't expect a big pullback again. Like, I'd love to know maybe Mando, how you're thinking about the macro environment right now.
Yeah. Oh God. So macro, I think that's part of the reason why we got so bullish, if I'm honest. Like, I think this rally that I think we're about to see, I think we're about to smash through all-time highs in S&P and NASDAQ. I think this feels more like we would call it a technical rally, in that everyone was predicting that we'd either see a recession or a big slowdown in growth. And it looks to me like we are going to go back slightly. Although stocks are near their all-time highs, they've been generally driven by 7 stocks. It's most of the stocks you would have heard of, like Tesla, Google, Facebook. They call them the Magnificent Seven. It's kind of the new term for the FANGs. I don't know if you remember that term.
Netflix was in FANG. What do you think?
Yeah, it didn't make the Magnificent Seven, so Netflix is out of it, which is why it's that's changed the name. So those are the stocks which have driven pretty much all of the performance. A lot of it's been the AI narrative, but there's been a few other bounce backs just in like cash flow, things like Facebook. I think what you'll see now is a big move towards growth stocks. So most of the rest of the S&P is actually not had an amazing year. It's had a great last 2 weeks, but it's nowhere near the performance of the other stocks. In fact, most of them are trading below their average PE ratio. They are trading in a kind of depressed market. What I think you'll see now is a movement away from maybe even short-term tech stocks, like it does feel like some of those are overbought, into a more broad-based rally. So you'll see a rally across the S&P, which is what you've seen over the last week, and the Russell, which is the 1,000 highest stocks. So I think you're about to see a much broader-based rally in growth stocks, or in just the belly of the stock market. And I think that's going to be incredibly painful, because if I'm honest, I think everyone was positioned. Already, everyone's always slightly underinvested, but I think during this move, you had a lot of underinvestment in stocks. You could get 4 or 5% from a money markets fund or from a savings account, maybe slightly lower in a savings account, but a lot of people moved into cash or they moved into bonds. And I think what you'll see in the bond market is just kind of just a coupon-like return. You'll get 3 to 5%. And I think people are now going to FOMO move into stocks. And that's what I think. I think this is going to be the painful rally. Everyone the most hated rally. This feels like it, because I think people are underinvested.
I bought a big stack of Roblox yesterday, so you're making me feel a lot better about it. 'Cause it's down 5% right now, so I lost.
Oh, really?
And Mando, you got to move your phone away from your microphone.
Oh, sorry. I need to put it on the floor.
Is Nick? Is that what I saw? Nick coming in, going out. I couldn't tell if Nick wanted to ask a question. Was that it, Nick?
3 no.
That's it. The stock thing though was interesting. I did see that chart with the with how the tech stocks are basically the sole part of the rally at this point, where it was up 20 or some insane percentage relative to all non-tech stocks, which were up 4%, I think, or 3% since the beginning of the year. But the S&P and NASDAQ and everything else are now heavily weighted by tech stocks. So, and I mean, Apple's a huge chunk of that, I think, at this point. It's some insane percentage of the S&P.
Yeah.
But
Apple's $2.5 trillion, right? It's absolutely insane how much Apple is worth. So yeah. I think now you're going to see a more healthy, I don't know, you would call it a soft landing move. The growth narrative is back, or at least the lack of recession narrative is back in the US. What that means for crypto I mean, we're 3 to 5% off the all-time highs in stocks, and crypto's still down like 40-50%. So we have underperformed that move. Now, like, we've had some big structural blow-ups in some of the like major exchanges, and I think it's going to take a while for us to hit like all-time highs in this sort of stuff. I think we're still probably at least 24 months away from that, in my opinion. But I do think that ETH could really start moving. I do think Bitcoin could really start moving, maybe like 40K, but over the next 12 months or the next 6 months on Bitcoin, 40 to 50K, and then maybe 3 to 4K on ETH would be. I think it's achievable. But I think it's you first get this FOMO rally into stocks, and then people look at crypto underperformance. And I still think, yeah, that's why I think we're at the foothills of it, because you're still able to get into crypto's kind of been ranging for the last month, even with stocks hitting new all-time highs. And if I'm a cross asset PM, I'm thinking, right, well, why is crypto lag so much? Like, these are strong narratives even for crypto, particularly with things like the Bitcoin ETF, the XRP ruling. Like, I think. And this is me just guessing, but I think like this is why we're at the foothills of it, and this is the time where you can accumulate before it gets crowded.
Mando, when you say we're at the foothills, in terms of like the narrative of a market opening up, when you're talking, when Obi was alluding to the narrative of having like ETFs come in and the big players getting licenses, do you see this as like akin to when the bond market opened up in the 80s in terms of getting those like exponential growth over a 10-year period?
So the actual, if you look at like the gold ETF, right? So I think the gold ETF only has like a few hundred billion of assets under management, all the gold ETFs, and the market cap of gold is something like 13 or 14 trillion. So it's actually much and that we can compare that to Bitcoin. It probably means the Bitcoin ETF only has, we're probably talking like 20 to 50 billion AUM at current prices, right? It's not like, oh my god, this is gonna, but they're gonna buy all our Bitcoin. That's kind of, it could be quite small. 20 to 50 billion size versus a market cap of all of crypto at 1.3 trillion. It's kind of small, but the narrative does change then, and it can be a multi-year narrative that gets like retail investors back involved. Personally, I still think I believe in utility for blockchains. Like, I believe that it's not just a Bitcoin narrative. I think some of the actual utilities of ETH will come through. I think that you need a narrative. If it was NFTs, if it was DeFi last time, I think you need a new narrative of functionality for ETH to really go parabolic. But I do think you'll start to see that. You've started to see some of the tokenization of real world assets over the last 6 months, particularly in the bond market, but also some other, even with NFTs, you're starting to see, like, again, the foothills of that. I think you can build some pretty strong narratives around that. And you don't really need that much utility as users for ETH to start burning, right? Like, I don't know how they got away with burning this much ETH, but it's like, it's kind of nuts in a bull market when you actually consider how much could get burned. If you could just consider that ETH is like the casino, and you just need some utilities on top of it to get to be burning it, they are just gonna. I think ETH could really move in a bull market, really move.
Well, spoken like a true ETH bull. Can't say I'm surprised, but I love to hear that, and it's very interesting to think about the burn mechanic.
Is that disappointing for you, Pio? Pio's like, spoken like a true ETH bull, doesn't realize that Bitcoin really is the only coin that matters, but spoken like a true ETH bull.
I like Bitcoin too. I own some Bitcoin, but I own more ETH.
What's the ticker?
Yeah, exactly. The new one.
Real quick, so we have a fun game that Clemente and Golden have prepared for us. I'm very excited to get into this in just a minute. Before we do, we talked about all finance, macro, trading stuff. I want to ask Farouk, from a social media perspective. So Farouk, you've been in social media professionally, I think probably since you were like in high school, like well over a decade at this point. What do you make of what's going on now? We got threads coming out on the Facebook side. TikTok's still hanging around. It seems like it's getting weirder and weirder, but it's hanging around. Twitter, Elon bought Twitter. It's kind of a dumpster fire. I mean, dude, I feel like if I walk around in Brooklyn right now and I ask people if they know what Twitter Spaces is, it's going to be like 2 out of 100 that have actually heard of Twitter Spaces. What do you think? Like, where are we going with this stuff? And what do you think will be the dominant social media platform, for Web3 and just in general moving forward?
it's a tough one, right? Because like you said, every time there's a new platform, we kind of want to, beat our heads against the wall as people, as creators, like, damn it, another platform, more work, more content, more clips, more everything. So it's a hassle. Look, it still seems like I like Threads for a moment. I was hooked onto it, writing on it and stuff. I haven't been on there in 2-3 days now. I think it's telling, because I'm the type of person, when there's a new platform, it's worth it, I go all in. Like, I'll literally, like,
Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces.
I'll just like, I'll literally stop things just for that, right? And so I did that first couple of weeks, but now with Europe, it's still banned in the EU, right? And until you have like Instagram's big in the EU, right? When you go to conference and even NFT, Web3 crypto conferences in Europe, I go, yo, show me your Twitter. They show me their IG, right? Like, literally, like, most people are just,
they don't have Twitter.
They have, or they just, whatever, right? It's like their second thought, third thought, whereas like Instagram is like the thing, like, yo, what's your IG? What's your IG? It's like the main thing. And even in normie, for normies, like, it's still heavily, Instagram, but normies are still not, hooked onto NFTs, let alone crypto. And we got to get them into crypto before we get them into NFTs, right? So you're right about the spaces comment. Look, I think it's good to build a very, very solid base here, like we're all doing here. I think, it goes without saying, Nifty, Portal, Rug Radio, we're at the forefront of that every single day, but still important to build a base somewhere else. For me, like, I'd just be cruising on Twitter and Instagram for now. Of course, we're pushing YouTube hard like you guys, but there's not a solution. And I don't think we're ready yet to move on to a Web3 native platform, because there's no one there. So if we go there, we're going to be in the echo chamber of echo chambers, right? Blue Sky was that. I know Nick was like making fun of that early on, and he's right? It's like Blue Sky was that. It was like the echo chamber of the echo chamber, right? So until we're like fully mass adopted, like, there's like, crypto's at a $10 trillion market cap, and like, like there's all these ETFs, and, we have the next bull run. We're not going to be moving to any other platform soon. So for now, you kind of just have to suck it up and keep growing on here. I do think that Twitter has this magic touch, though. Like, there's something about Twitter, even though it's annoying, even though Spaces breaks all the time, even though it's like not even 1/10 as good as the tech as Clubhouse has or had or still has, but I wish they would get acquired already. We're still on here for a reason. Like, there's something that just draws the conversation back to Twitter, no matter the bots, no matter everything. So it's weird. No, it's not perhaps the answer people wanted, but we're just all over the place like everybody else trying to figure it out day after day. It's like, we're going to have to wait it out, I think.
I think we already know where everybody's going, and it's called Threads, man. Threads is where all of that activity is going. There's no doubt. There's no chance of failure for Facebook with cloning Twitter, and that's where all of our live shows will be on the next bull run.
We have audio spaces over there, right? Like, they have the tech. So when Clubhouse came out and disrupted live social audio, Facebook, like the actual Facebook app, had a live social audio tool that Mark Zuckerberg went on that first day, and after a week they sunset it. Didn't even last a week, I think. So they have the tech, but
I think it's time to start shorting Facebook at this point, because the market is too bullish on Facebook. They see they see Zuckerberg MMA
doing
fighting. MMA. Like, all of the articles about Threads are literally these like glowing like reviews of that, like, Twitter has died. It is over. This is like 2 days after the after the product is released. And you're just like, and they're like, there's 10 million people now. And it's like, bro, you have 1 billion people or 3 billion people on your platform. I hope you can get 10 million people to convert to one of your new products. But the overall media commentary on it is just absolutely ludicrous. And it's so overblown. And also what I've noticed is a lot of people, days after the first 2 days or 48 hours of people being like checking out this new thing, like, basically the engagement just like fell off a cliff, and people were like, oh, wait, people aren't on Threads every day. The comments of people that were on Threads was also hilarious. It was like, this is so much better. Oh my God, this is so much better. The conversation, the connections that I'm making here are so much better. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Have you ever walked into a party and you're just like, oh man, every party I've been at before this was shit. And now I have finally reached the party where I have met the truest of people in my life. Thank God for all. People would be like, yo, someone needs to get that guy out of here. I don't know what the situation, like, is he on drugs? Like, I don't know what's going on there, but you'd get kicked out of that party for behaving.
It's always
like
better the first day, right? Like it's always so much better the first day because all your best friends are on there and you're able to like connect with people like that you don't see on here because it's really the algorithm kind of blows on Twitter.
Well,
right?
then the cocaine high starts getting worse, right? Like on the second day of that party, right? Like you're slowly thinking like, whoa, maybe I'm now actually a drug addict and this wasn't about the party. And that's what's going on there with Threads, basically, is everybody is drug addicts.
But you know what's crazy is that, and the reason why it's just we're not going to be able to get off Twitter. Like the Twitter crowd is not moving to Threads. And there's also this thing with like this privacy concern for most crypto users. So they're never going to go to Threads or anything Zuck ever comes out with. Never. I know people that refuse to even use WhatsApp or any meta group app, right? They won't do it, right? I mean, the EU banned it. So it's like, that's not going to happen. And the Threads people, they're not coming to Twitter. They hate Twitter already. So it's like, for us, on the media standpoint, I'm sure you can relate. It's like, well, it's just more work. This is a hassle. Like if people could stop fighting and dropping new apps every other month, it would be really good and help me a lot from a business standpoint because I can't keep up anymore. Like it's a lot. It's definitely a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we feel you on that. And we're going to get into this game. Guess that collection. I don't know if Nick likes that title. Nick always gives Clemente a hard time about the titles of segments.
It's better than price go up or down. It's sliced 17 different ways, which is
look at how Clemente's not amused at all. I just want to show his face real quick.
I got the seahorse ready to go.
Anyway, real quick though, we brought up MMA. A lot of people probably don't know that OSF, our very own OSF here on the show, has multiple boxing bouts under his belt. He's gotten busy in there. He's danced. He's had dance partners in the ring. OSF, I've seen some people on NFT Twitter. I'm not going to name names, but I think you can tell who's positioning themselves to try to sell tickets for a boxing match. And I feel like it makes a lot of sense, and we're going to see it. Would you do a promoted boxing match with someone on NFT and crypto Twitter for the right price?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to.
Damn! Oh shit!
I'm an opponent. I'm an opponent, guys.
I mean, yo, Clemente, let my screen up 1 second. Let my screen up. Have you seen this?
Oh!
Have you seen this?
This guy getting busy.
That's my he's 9.3% body fat right now. 9.3% body fat. You already know. Whoever wants in, let's go.
Yeah,
I also get the feeling. Sorry, Kicks. I also get the feeling that you're the kind of person who would do chess boxing just to like take it to the next level. You'd be like, beat the shit out of someone, and then I'm going to show you how smart I am by doing checkmate, and then go back to physically beating the shit out of you. I remember chess boxing was a big thing in London at one point.
It's funny you mentioned that because I love playing chess and I've been meaning to try out chess boxing for a long time. So I haven't yet, but you hit the nail on the head with that one.
Well, I'll tell you what, my money's on OSF versus basically anyone, unless they're an actual legit boxer, because I suck at boxing. Literally, fun fact, yesterday was the first time I ever got any positive feedback in any boxing class. Usually it's just like, you're doing it wrong. You're just doing it wrong, you know? So my money's on OSF. I have a lot of respect for people that train.
Pio came over after and shared that story. Pio loves sharing this story that he got a positive affirmation inside of the gym from somebody, as though I don't understand. You were like, you know what I'm saying, or something like that when you're sharing this story, and I'm like, no, I have no idea. Like, I don't like if I don't give a shit what a trainer tells me. I other than like, don't do that because you're
imagine, Nick, if you showed up to something every day, you're coding. You know, you're coding with a coach, and every time it's just you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Do it different.
I thought you guys were talking about chest boxing with a T, like you just punch each other in the chest.
I heard that too.
And I was like, I mean, that's cool. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, maybe you don't want head trauma from a lot of headshot, but no, chess as in the board game.
As in the board game, yeah, the famous board game.
You make a move like knight to d4, and then you just punch him right in the fucking face, or like, how does that work?
Well, a round of chess, and whoever wins first wins. That's how it goes.
I like it.
There's like world championships and everything. Like, it's a pretty legit thing.
Clearly, Witters is triggered that I questioned Christopher Nolan. We got an Inception and Interstellar fangirl here. Thanks for showing your true colors, Witters. Clemente, can you lay us up an intro for Guess That Collection, the fun game that we're about to play with the gang from Road Radio?
Game.
So we have rules are super simple. I'm going to share the screen of a historical floor price chart of a mystery collection. Pio's going to read out 3 different clues, and each clue kind of gets one more revealing over time.
They're all the same chart, dude.
All the charts just go down.
It's a spike and then down. That's literally every NFT chart.
But Nick, that's like going to like a ski resort. Like they all go downhill, but like some have different slope.
Okay.
Well, part of the clues are, hey, this minted an X date. That's why the clues are 4. So, anyways, first to guess the collection right gets a point. We got 11 rounds of this thing. So whoever's winning by the end of this will win. And if there's a tie, we got a special lightning round that we can play.
11 rounds. Pio, can you stand up that long?
No, I can't. So, Clemente, are we kicking it off?
I'm ready to rumble. And then if you're listening on Twitter, we also have a thread pinned where you can play along with us with each round as we progress.
There we go. Let's rock and roll. So, Clemente, do you want to serve us up?
Yeah, here we go. Pio, you can just read out the clues as we go on. I'll just share the charts.
All right, round 1.
Doodles.
The collection is, no, just kidding, Clemente. You thought I was about to say it. The clues are these minted in March 2022. They reached an all-time high of, get this, 6.35 Ethereum in May 22. That's a pretty penny at that time.
Goblins?
Sorry?
Goblins?
No, they have Goblins went higher than that.
Nice.
I like the early guess halfway through the first clue, though, Mando. That was confident. They have
May 22. I was like, oh, may have been.
They have a current floor price of 0.35 ETH. They've recorded 620,000 ETH in all-time volume, largely due to blur farming. Collection is known for being a companion secondary collection, but was recently demoted to
Dead Friends.
Oh, never mind.
Nope. To the tertiary collection. Any guesses?
Beans. Yeah.
Whoa. 2 people said that. 2 people said that at the same time.
6 ETH? What the fuck?
Yeah, they were 6 ETH before they were beans, when they were the box. Do you remember the box?
Yeah. Okay,
I had 12 of them at 7 ETH in February 2022 in LA, and I thought I was rich. That's when I should have put everything.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, beans, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first one. Nick, what do you think of this game so far?
It's incredible, man. I'm on the edge of my seat here trying to guess. We're just throwing out names. The next one is going to be flip a coin, heads or tails.
All right. Well, anyway, moving on to round 2 of this fun game.
Wait. Who got points? Who got points in that first round?
Signal got that one. So point for Signal. Pio, read one clue at a time. So like just clue 1, read it, see if anyone has a chance to guess. But given that it took you guys that long to guess the first one, it only gets harder from here, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, show us the chart, Clemente, the all-telling chart that goes up and then it goes down. Here we go.
Every NFT chart.
Round 2, the chart goes up and then it goes down for you that are just listening at home, and I haven't even seen the chart yet, but I'm going to go ahead and assume, oh, here it is. It went up and now it's gone down. Here we go, guys. These NFTs minted in January 2022, long time ago, reached an all-time high, get this, of 18.5 Ethereum, also in May 2022. So look at that. Another NFT collection that an all-time high. Nope,
Goblins?
not Cool Cats. And their current floor price is 1.68 ETH. That's clue number 1. I'm going to pause.
Moonbirds.
Clone X.
OSF with the call, Clone X.
Yeah.
There you go. That was a quick guess. Nick, what do you think of the game now that we've done 2 of them?
I mean, I'd like to win at one of these, but Clone X, I've never been a Clone X fan. That'll never be one of the guesses. So if you throw that on anything related to Clone X for me, I'll never get it.
Well, we got the third one. This is actually, I'll give it to Clemente. This is a good call. This one, the chart also goes up and then goes down. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Another chart that goes up and then it goes down. These minted in August 2022. No, that can't be right. Is it really? No, August 2021, Clemente.
All right, 2021.
Yeah.
August 2021.
Lazy Lions.
Nope. They reached an all-time high of 3.5 ETH. I thought it was higher, but okay, 3.5 ETH in our
Dead fellas.
We got kicks because he bought 5 of them or something. Creature World.
Wow.
Look at
What
that
is Creature World at now?
They just did that size Chad Arbitrum drop yesterday. The free NFTs was hilarious.
Wait,
their current floor price is 0.08 ETH, Nick.
Oh my God.
Go to OpenSea right now and look at the main page. It's hilarious.
You don't want to know how I know that chart? Because I top tick the shit out of it.
Dude, Creature World's at 0.08.
Wow,
that's fucking awful.
They did a collab with Size Chat. I didn't have that on my bingo card.
Yeah, it's a free NFT on Arbitrum. It's hilarious.
Theo, you need to get something other than a bingo card, dude. Like I'm just saying, you got to play another game. You got to play another game so you can. I didn't have it on. What's something else?
What made Size Chad decide in the bottom of the NFT market to drop an NFT? Like, why do it now? Does he just need money?
His homie was with Danny Cole, and it's like a free Arbitrum drop to like raise awareness around Arbitrum. So it's like free. So you have to actually it's like Arbitrum NFT. I think it's like marketing. Yeah.
That's like a twins, Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger situation. If those two are friends, one's huge and one's not huge. All right.
Dude, that is such a depressing level, 0.08. That is I mean, I'm surprised we haven't heard some stories in the newspaper about people sort of, you know what I'm saying, like kind of
killing themselves, Nick.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that myself.
Oh,
but
NFTs aren't that serious, Nick. All right, number 4, round 4 of this fun game. We got these NFTs. This chart is different. This chart
went up and down and then up and down. So this went up and down twice, almost lasted longer than me in bed. That's pretty good.
You know what? I honestly, is this Rug Radio?
No, it's not. So
we're not gonna do that to you, dude.
We topped at 1.8 in the bull, and then we went back to 0.7 before the core E drop, and we're back at 0.2. Is this like literally the same chart? That's why I laughed.
Well, that's pretty funny. But no, what this is these minted in February 2022. They reached an all-time high of 1.7 Ethereum in February 2022. So right off the bat, they hit their all-time high. Their current floor price is 0.38 ETH. They've recorded 37,000 all-time ETH volume. This is a juicy one because the chart goes up twice. Which one is it?
Pixelmon.
Yeah, another W.
Was the ETH volume the giveaway on that? Because there's only so many that can be that high, right?
Just a double spike. There's not been that many that have double spiked.
That's true. Yeah.
Dude, Pixelmon though with the pullback again, dude. That's crazy. How's Kevin doing? Like, how's it?
Grail. He's a Grail these days.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's like 5 ETH or 3. Definitely.
It's a Grail, baby. Sotherbys is going to be auctioning Kevin.
Well,
also cool to see.
Or sorry, I didn't mean it. But Mando and OSF, do you guys own a Kevin? Like, was that one of the art pieces that you collected after the ape sales?
That one was in the final stages, but didn't make it through to the final.
It's a 3.4 ETH floor right now, and there's 3 listed only on all marketplaces. So it's a Grail. Listen, Grail's in the free.
I love how they updated the metadata for every single other Pixelmon except for the Kevin. They were just like,
you can't touch the Grail. Also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying the trade called OG Kevin is great.
Yeah,
dude. I kind of like that piece. Part of me wants to add that, frame that on the wall, just put it there. It is pretty iconic, and nobody who. Well, let's be honest. No one comes over to my apartment ever. I was wondering why I have art on the wall. Even it's just a waste of money. But the putting a Kevin up there would I'd like it framed, hanging up when people come over. They're gonna be like, "What is that?" And I'll be like, "It's Kevin."
Well, there you go. Look, I want to do one more of these before we wrap. Clemente, I'm having trouble picking one because I feel like they're all going to be really hard. People are calling out random collections to show. We're not going to do that.
You're getting just pissed off. Hey, every commenters, post the chart we should show of your bags getting wrecked. Basically.
Look, we're going to do this next one. We're going to do the round 5 one, Clemente. Okay. We're going to do this one. This one's going to be hard because it's not as It's not as big of a name as the first 4, but it's interesting. So these minted in December 2021. So you have another 2021 mint. I did not know they came out that early.
Party degenerates.
Nope. They reached an all-time high. They reached an all-time high of 3.5 ETH in January. They have a current floor price of 0.1 ETH. There's 21,000 ETH in all-time volume. At one point, I think people consider this a very strong community. If you look at that chart, it is it went up and then it went down chart, but there's
it's a free mint. It's a free mint for sure.
Alien friends?
Yeah, wow. How'd you get
Wow.
No, what the hell? You know what it is, guys? It's because these MFers wrote like 200 reports, so it's not fair. Like these guys in 2021, they used to write all these reports, right? They still do have the reports going on, but sheesh, that was
people in the chat too.
You said a strong community. I remember that January 2021 time, like, I mean, the fucking trash that was.
Alien. That's when we did the 1E challenge. Remember, like all the bags that we had during the time.
That was it. Here's a go ahead.
I was gonna say, between me and Kix, we had like 15 ETH worth of quirkies that we bought at like 0.2 each and refused to just acknowledge them until we sold them way too early. And they promptly went to 3 ETH a piece. The challenge would have been done. Like, that was the wildest time. Anything you bought from that January to like March period was just a cook.
I mean, the game should just be here. Watch us lose money was what the 1 ETH challenge should have been, because basically, what were you gonna say? Okay.
That was my most fun event that we've done. Clemente, hats off. I thought that was a lot of fun, dude. I thought that was a good segment.
You don't want to know the other ones I'd queued up. I was way too late thinking like,
I know
they're gonna get this.
Is there like crazy the creeps chart?
There's an insane one.
Give us the insane one. Come on.
All right, you guys want the hardest?
One more.
One more.
All right, Pio, let's do
which number?
Actually, let's try number 8, round 8.
Yeah, so number 8, this one's
round 8. How many do you have? 7. You're on like round 17.
He had 11 fully prepped and then a lightning round if we wanted 3 more. But
wow.
So this is round 8. Look, I'm beyond impressed that you got alien friends. If you get this too, that is very impressive. This was going to be my next choice. So these minted in August 2021, another 2021 collection. Clemente didn't fill in the all-time high because he was up too late doing this. He just has the letter X in there.
Take a guess at the all-time high.
It looks like the all-time high was just under 0.2 ETH. So not that high. Their current floor price is 0.003. So it is
that chart's 2022.
That is it went to 0 situation. They only have 2,000 ETH in all-time volume. They were presented, the pitch is that they were historical, I suppose. What is it?
Ethelings, whatever they're.
Nope.
There are a bunch of historical ones.
My pride punks.
Nope.
Crypto skulls.
They are an animal.
Those went way higher. Crypto skulls were way higher. They like hit an ETH. That was like
more. I think those things were going 5 ETH at some point.
The same people that were selling you crypto skulls were selling you this.
A pixelized
crypto ray rays?
Yes. Bunny with the crypto ray rays.
Wow.
Oh, I minted that and gas cost me $1,500 at the time. Yeah, I'll never forget. Yeah.
Bunny, how'd you guess that?
That was a good guess.
I remember the same people showing me the skulls were showing.
He couldn't even see the chart.
Oh my God, these things. I didn't even participate in this one because I was like, this
definitely
is trash.
bought one of these at like 0.12.
Why are they historical?
Exactly.
Hell yeah, brother.
Exactly.
The first pixelated, Ray. Look at Ovi.
Portal was showing the shit out of this at one point in time. I remember.
Because 2021 was a historical time, dude. You don't get it. Like that was historical. Literally, someone just created an NFT project and called it historical. That was happening actually pretty often, where people would be like, "It was a moment in history."
Yo. Pull this up, Clemente. Dude, I got fucking receipts on this guy.
All right, pull it up. But this This mug is historical. Buy it from me, asshole. Is basically the message of the crypto Ray Rays. What do we got that we're pulling up here, Kicks?
I think Nick bought the literal top on these.
Well, that's on brand.
V-Friends Iconics.
Wait, did I? You did. Oh no! I lost money on this one. Damn! Look how much money I lost on that.
You bought the
bad. You could've
Pico
lost
top.
$200 I lost on that thing.
I remember
even
I
get
think you
that.
said these are stupid and I'm gonna lose money on them, and you bought it like live on the show.
Okay,
Just
so
'cause
that
everyone
was one of
talking about
those.
it. Yeah.
Well, let's be clear. The October that we started the show, I think the reason the show did well was because I always bought NFTs on the show and just promptly lost money. I think the first month of this show was me losing 15 grand live on air, and people love that sort of shit. Like that's good content right there.
It was great. You guys used to be a riot, bro. Like this morning show, y'all's morning show. I mean, we were not
Used to be good.
No, I like it better now, but y'all were a riot back then. Like it was like a whole like it was crazy.
We're on that bull run energy, you know?
Yeah, but it was nuts. Like it was on a whole other like craziness. It was unhinged.
Yeah, unhinged is probably the definition. That was whenever we did the Cool Cat space was basically around that time as well. And I've still lost 50% of this market won't talk to me because they think I'm a piece of shit for hosting that space. Your boy was right. Okay, just remember that next bull run. Remember who had the right call on literally everything. I didn't make any good trades.
I gotta hop into another call, but it's been a pleasure hanging with you guys. This was
Later,
really
I had a
fun.
blast.
Let's definitely do this more often, but I gotta late for another one. So
Absolutely. OSF just wants to run. We totally get it, but no, we were gonna wrap anyway. No, seriously, this was absolutely fantastic. I don't know why we procrastinated it, especially since we just made Clemente and Golden do all the work and we didn't have to do anything but show up, which was pretty nice. But shout out to OSF, shout out to Mando, shout out to Farouk. Farouk, any closing thoughts?
Mando?
We should do this more often. This was a lot of fun. This is the most fun I've had in weeks.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
dude. All I gotta say is I'm ready for the next bull run because it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah.
Next bull's gonna be crazy. We need people to stop their ETH at $1,900, Mando. Like we need retain. You know, like it's retain is the new hodl. You know, stop selling your goddamn ETH at under $2,000. Maybe we'll have a good time. Okay, but no, it was fun. Part 2, we'll do it on our show. I love that. Shout out to Clemente and Golden for the hard work behind the scenes. It was a blast.
Mando, are you guys what's the goal on the next bull run? Are you guys buying helicopters and planes, or like what sort of is like the target here that you're aiming for? And where are you going to sell your ETH at?
Yeah, a second plane would be great. Actually, I think that's
second plane. Okay.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, no, we don't have any aims. We're just gonna see where we're at in a couple of years.
Hell yeah. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you follow Farouk, OSF, and Mando. They are all on stage right now. You see the 2 Rec guys. Shout out to the Rec Guy collection, doing quite well in this bear market, exceptionally well, dare I say. Those are OSF and Mando. Farouk has a Farouked out Opepin from the is it State of Web? Sorry, Farouk, I have like 20 of these. State of Web3? Faces of Web3. Forgive me.
Yeah. Faces of Web3. No, they're
How
great.
about you sweep that floor? Huh? I need I'll sell them to you.
Yeah, yo. How about that? Just kidding, I'm playing.
Hell yeah. And check out all of Rug Radio's content. Check out Wrecked Radio, hosted by Mando, OSF, and Keyboard Monkey. Show's doing incredibly well once a week. Plenty of other Rug Radio programming for you to consume. And apparently, I think there's some new stuff coming that's really exciting too. Ladies and gentlemen, we do the show Monday through Friday right here, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m.
NFT, Pia.
Yep, there's a free NFT. Go to the nifty.com/claim, put in the code PROFIT7. As you can tell, next time we'll have a free NFT that's themed based on this show. We didn't have time to set it up this time, but next time 1,000% there will be a themed one for sure. And make sure you listen to Rug Radio's morning show that happens at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time right here on Twitter Spaces, also on YouTube, also streamed to Twitter video, which is very cool stuff. Anything else that people should pay attention to, Farouk? All things Rug Radio related.
No, honestly, everything. just everything. Pay attention. You know, we're building. You know? No, it is. Like, we had town hall yesterday, and I'm here like we're working, we're building, we're growing. So it's just good.
Just keep paying attention to everything. I'm gonna be posting tweets. Watch every single tweet that I post.
Notifications on everything, every reply, absolutely everything I'm doing. Like, pay attention. No, but for real, like, what I would say here is pay attention to Rug Radio V2. I talked about it for the first time yesterday on Town Hall, but you know, we're about to go big, like, for the second, iteration of Rug Radio. I think brands in the space have to consistently like adapt and change and reiterate, especially those 2021 companies that you saw. Like, the market's different. The next bull run's not going to be like the last bull run, in my opinion. And I've seen you guys adapt and change with your platform and your free NFTs, which is incredible, and you're killing it. Clearly, your numbers are there, so it shows for it. So I would pay attention to the next to Q4, Q1 Rug Radio, because we're really about to change a lot of things, fundamentally.
Hell yeah. Can't wait to see it. Shout out to Loxley, co-CEO of Rug Radio, doing his thing. I see him in the audience. We will be back tomorrow.